Scene script. Ever wondered how polar bears manage to survive in the harsh, frozen Arctic world? Imagine a place where temperatures regularly plummet to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, a place where the sun hides for half the year, plunging the world into darkness, a place where food is scarce and the terrain is treacherous. This place is the Arctic, a brutal and unforgiving environment that few creatures can endure. Yet, it is home to one of the most charismatic and resilient species on Earth, the polar bear. Polar bears, or Ursus maritimus as scientists like to call them, are not just surviving in the Arctic, they are thriving, but this doesn't come easy. They face a myriad of challenges, each one potentially as deadly as the last. Firstly, there's the bone-chilling cold. The Arctic is one of the coldest places on Earth. Most creatures would freeze solid in such conditions, but not the polar bear. They have adapted to survive in this icy wilderness. Then there's the scarcity of food. The Arctic isn't exactly a buffet of options. Food can be hard to find, and often polar bears have to travel great distances to find a meal. But they are excellent hunters, capable of detecting a seal's breathing hole from miles away. And let's not forget the changing climate. The Arctic is warming twice as fast as the rest of the world. This is causing the sea ice, which polar bears rely on for hunting, to melt. This is perhaps the greatest challenge they face today. Polar bears are truly the masters of Arctic survival. They are resilient, adaptable, and incredibly tough. But they are not invincible. They are living on the edge, constantly battling the elements, and facing a future that is increasingly uncertain. So, how do these majestic creatures overcome these challenges? How do they manage to survive and even thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth? How do these majestic creatures overcome these challenges? Stay tuned to find out. Polar bears are not just survivors, they are Arctic specialists thanks to their unique adaptations. Residing in one of the harshest environments on Earth, polar bears have evolved over time to not only endure but excel in their icy domain. One of their most obvious adaptations is their white fur. This isn't just a fashion statement, it's a key survival tool. Polar bears are the ultimate masters of disguise in their snowy surroundings. Their fur isn't just white, it's translucent and hollow, reflecting light to blend in with the snow and ice. This camouflage is vital for hunting, allowing them to sneak up on their prey, mainly seals, without detection. But it's not just the fur on the outside that counts. What's underneath matters too. Polar bears have a layer of blubber up to 4 inches thick that acts as a natural thermal blanket, keeping them warm in temperatures as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit. This insulation is so effective that a polar bear can overheat while running. In the water, polar bears are equally adapted. They are excellent swimmers, capable of covering long distances. Their large, paddle-like paws are perfect for propelling them through the water, while their layer of blubber provides buoyancy. Another vital adaptation is their exceptional sense of smell. A polar bear's nose is one of its most important hunting tools. They can detect a seal's breathing hole or igloo up to a mile away, and the scent of a carcass from over 20 miles away. This keen sense of smell is crucial in the vast Arctic, where food can be scarce. These adaptations, from their camouflaging fur and insulating blubber to their swimming prowess and powerful sense of smell, have been honed over thousands of years. Each one plays a key role in the polar bear's survival strategy, equipping them for a life in the extreme Arctic conditions. These adaptations don't just help them survive, they allow polar bears to thrive in the Arctic. A year in the life of a polar bear is a cycle of feast and famine, dictated by the harsh Arctic seasons. Let's embark on a journey through the calendar of a polar bear, a tale of survival and adaptation. Our journey starts in the heart of winter, where the Arctic is at its coldest, yet paradoxically, it is a time of abundance for the polar bear. This is the seal hunting season, a time when the bears feast on their primary prey. Seals, rich in fat, provide the necessary calories for the polar bears to endure the harsh winter and prepare for the lean summer months ahead. As the winter progresses, the polar bears utilize their exceptional hunting skills, waiting patiently by seal breathing holes or stalking seals resting on the ice. This period is crucial, as the polar bears must build up their fat reserves. These reserves are not just for warmth, but also a source of energy. The more they eat during the winter, the better their chances of surviving the summer. As the Arctic welcomes spring, the ice begins to melt, and seal hunting becomes a challenge. The once abundant food source now becomes scarce, and the polar bears start to rely on their stored fat. It's a time of transition, a shift from feasting to fasting. Summer arrives, bringing with it 24-hour daylight. The ice retreats, and the bears are forced onto land. Hunting becomes almost impossible during this period, and this is when the fat reserves become vital. The bears spend most of the summer conserving energy, resting, and waiting for the ice to return. Autumn signals the end of the fasting period. The ice starts to reform, and seals become accessible once more. The bears, now lean from the long summer fast, eagerly return to the ice to hunt. The cycle then repeats, each year a testament to the polar bear's resilience and adaptability in one of the world's harshest environments. It's a tough life, but polar bears have evolved to endure it. Climate change presents new, unprecedented challenges to polar bear survival. This threat, unseen in the history of these magnificent creatures, is redefining their Arctic world. Imagine a world that's slowly melting away. That's the reality for polar bears. The Arctic, their home, is warming twice as fast as the rest of the planet. This rapid thawing of ice sheets and glaciers is not just a problem for polar bears, it's a death sentence. Ice is much more than a platform for polar bears. It's their hunting ground. Seals, their primary source of nutrition, are caught when they surface in holes in the sea ice to breathe. But as the ice recedes, so does the polar bear's ability to hunt. They're phenomenal swimmers, sure, but they can't outswim a seal. This scarcity of food has severe implications. It affects their ability to reproduce, and it affects cub survival rates. Pregnant females need to bulk up to prepare for the long winter denning period. But if there's no food, there's no extra weight. And without that extra weight, there's a lower chance of survival for both mother and cub. It's a domino effect, one that starts with melting ice and ends with a threat to the very existence of polar bears. The shrinking sea ice also means polar bears have to swim longer distances, pushing their endurance to the limit. These longer swims, combined with less food, lead to exhausted and often starving bears. It's not just about ice and food, though. Melting ice also impacts polar bears' breeding grounds. Female bears dig dens in the snow to give birth and nurse their cubs. But with less snow and more rain, these dens are at risk of collapsing, threatening the lives of the young ones inside. Climate change is pushing the endurance of polar bears to its limits. This isn't just a story about survival, it's a story about an entire species fighting to stave off extinction, and it's a fight they can't win alone. Despite the threats, there is hope for polar bears, thanks to ongoing conservation efforts. From the icy expanses of the Arctic Circle to the bustling cities of the world, people are rallying together to ensure the survival of these majestic creatures. One of the key initiatives is the work being done by conservation groups. These organizations are conducting vital research, tracking polar bear populations, and studying their behavior to better understand how climate change is affecting them. They're also working tirelessly to protect and preserve the polar bear's natural habitat, which is crucial for their survival. Another important part of these conservation efforts is raising awareness. Educating the public about the plight of polar bears and the impact of climate change on their habitat is a powerful tool in the fight for their survival. Through documentaries, social media campaigns, and educational programs, the message of conservation is reaching millions of people around the globe. Furthermore, governments and international bodies are playing a pivotal role in the preservation of polar bears. They're implementing regulations to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, setting aside protected areas for polar bears, and enforcing laws against illegal hunting. Global cooperation is essential in this endeavor, as the survival of polar bears is a shared responsibility. But it doesn't stop there. Even individuals can make a difference. By making conscious decisions to reduce our carbon footprint, we can help slow down the warming of the Arctic. Simple actions like recycling, using energy-efficient appliances, and supporting renewable energy can contribute to the preservation of polar bears' habitat. It's clear that the battle for the survival of polar bears is being fought on many fronts. And while the challenges are significant, the determination and commitment of those involved give us reason for optimism. Polar bears are a symbol of Arctic survival. With our help, they can continue to thrive in their icy home for generations to come.